Have you ever stumbled across an old map and wondered if it was hiding more than just faded lines and names? Imagine finding a world that vanished so completely, most of us have never even heard its name: Tartaria. Picture wide-open plains where massive stone gateways stand half-buried in grass, their carvings worn smooth by centuries of wind. Think of grand halls built from gleaming white marble, now cracked and silent, where voices once filled the air with secret knowledge. You won't find Tartaria in your school textbooks. It's as if someone quietly erased an entire empire, leaving only vague sketches in the margins of ancient atlases. Yet every ruined tower and forgotten tunnel whispers the same question: who built this place, and why did they disappear? Now, we're not just flipping through dusty books. We're stepping into the mist, tracing footprints left by architects whose engineering still puzzles modern experts. We'll hear the echoes of a civilization that seemed to stretch across continents, and then vanished, like a dream at sunrise. This isn't a fantasy. It's a mystery written in stone, hidden beneath layers of time and silence. And it's waiting for you to uncover it. So lean in close. Let's follow the trail from weathered gateways to secret basements, and see what happens when we shine a light on the parts of history someone tried to keep in the dark. Open your eyes to the strange gaps on those maps, regions labeled Tartaria, that suddenly disappear, only to reappear under different names in later editions. Why would cartographers obscure an empire that once stretched from frozen steppes to temperate woodlands? And why do so many architectural oddities, from elaborately carved gateways in Siberia to ornate domes in North America, share the same unmistakable style? It's as if a single grand vision once united far-flung peoples, their engineers speaking in a common language of stone and steel. We find identical patterns on rooftops and fortresses thousands of miles apart, yet historians offer no explanation beyond coincidence or local design. Could this really be chance, or a silent testimony to a civilization more connected and advanced than we've been led to believe? Travelers' journals from the 1600s whisper of opulent cities powered by technologies lost to time, canals that glowed at night, metal bridges spanning raging rivers, and underground libraries where scrolls glowed with phosphorescent ink. These stories were dismissed as exaggerations, footnotes in dusty archives, but the ruins remain. They stand in plain sight, waiting for someone to bridge the gap between myth and reality. And then there are the whispers of erased histories, manuscripts burned or hidden, inscriptions chiseled away, entire monuments razed to the ground. Why would later rulers go to such lengths to remove Tartaria from the record? What threat did its ideas pose to the emerging empires that carved our modern boundaries? Now, we'll follow those faint traces across continents. We'll pore over sketches in forgotten libraries, compare architectural blueprints from distant regions, and watch for the same symbols: the spiral, the starburst, the endless knot, etched into marble and concrete alike. The mystery grows richer with every clue. Each fragment suggests a vast network of knowledge and ambition that vanished not in a single cataclysm, but in a slow, deliberate erasure. So stay close. We're peeling back the layers of time to reveal a story that refuses to stay buried. Long before Tartaria became a whispered legend, the word appeared on countless maps as a placeholder for the unknown. In the 1500s, European explorers and scholars began to sketch the vast lands beyond the Urals and the Caspian Sea, regions they could not fully chart. With each new voyage, the borders of Great Tartary shifted, sometimes stretching east past China's Great Wall, sometimes retreating toward the frozen steppes. In those days, monks in remote monasteries hand-inked atlases that married classical lore with fresh sightings from caravans and Jesuit missionaries. To them, Tartars was a catch-all term for the many tribes and khanates of Central Asia: Mongols, Turkic clans, and nomadic horsemen whose voices rarely reached Western ears. The name carried a sense of awe. These were lands of endless grass, fierce riders, and forgotten cities. By the 17th century, travelers' accounts began to trickle in. Russian fur traders described ice-choked rivers leading to stone fortresses stamped with unfamiliar runes. Persian merchants told tales of marble gateways so large that dozens of camels could pass side by side beneath their arches. Even Ming Dynasty records mention distant visitors who brought strange bronze devices capable of exploiting Earth's hidden energies. Back in Europe, mapmakers like Guillaume de Lisle and Johann Hohmann wrestled over how to depict these mysteries. Their maps bear witness to growing confidence in geography, yet around the margins, sprawling areas remained labeled Tartaria or Tartary. These blank spaces weren't oversights, they were invitations, portals left ajar for future voyagers to step through. Meanwhile, the Mongol Empire's legacy faded, splintered into smaller khanates and sultanates. As the Russian Empire expanded eastward in the 18th and 19th centuries, it absorbed vast tracts once called Tartary, redrawing borders and renaming cities. With each conquest, the old name slipped further into obscurity, its cities repurposed, its libraries scattered, its monuments recast as local oddities. Yet the stones remained. Towers and cathedrals built of gleaming white limestone still stand in Siberia and the Ural foothills, their arches and domes echoing architectural motifs found halfway around the world. Those silent landmarks are the true fingerprints of Tartaria's builders, echoes of a time when cartographers mapped possibilities as much as they charted facts. Beneath those grand halls and marble pillars lies something unexpected, a web of tunnels where every wall seems to hum with purpose. Here, the builders of Tartaria didn't simply carve symbols, they sketched instructions. Feel the cold air settle as you trace your fingers along faint grooves, circles linked by lines, like circuits glowing in the dark. Scholars once wrote these off as decoration. But in 2019, cave divers uncovered metal plates etched with almost identical patterns. Patterns that, when held near certain mineral veins, crackle with static. Deeper in the maze, you come upon a round chamber lit by a single shaft of sunlight. At its center stands a stone plinth topped by a crystal sphere. When the sun strikes it just right, at dawn on the summer solstice, the beam fractures into ribbons of light, tracing runes on the walls. Local legends speak of gatherings here, where people watched the stones sing in colors. These weren't parlor tricks. They point to a grasp of optics and energy that feels decades, if not centuries, ahead of its time. And then you realize why so little survives on the surface. Some of these innovations threaten the powers that rose after Tartaria fell. Imagine a world where cities shone without lamps, where healing came from focused beams of light, and where hidden tunnels linked distant outposts. In the 1800s, as new empires claimed these lands, many tunnels were filled in, maps were altered, and manuscripts labeled heretical were burned. But the stone never forgets. In hidden corners, you still find shards of those old manuals, pages that speak plainly of living light, and stone engines powered by the earth itself. Standing in that silent chamber, you feel the weight of lost knowledge, and the pull of a choice. Do we leave it buried, or do we follow the faint glow, step by careful step, toward a future built on these ancient truths? What if those ancient chambers weren't just relics, but blueprints for a kinder, more balanced world? Imagine using the same principles that guided Tartaria's architects, harnessing natural light, geometry, and the Earth's own energy, to enrich our daily lives. First, there's living light. You don't need a hidden tunnel or crystal sphere to feel its power. At sunrise, stand near a window or in a garden and let the first rays wash over you. Close your eyes and visualize them tracing gentle patterns on your skin, awakening a sense of clarity and calm. Over weeks, this simple ritual can sharpen focus, lift mood, and reconnect you with nature's rhythm. Next, consider the stone engines. These weren't machines of steel and oil, but chambers carved to amplify Earth's subtle forces. You can tap into a modern version by creating a focus corner at home. Choose a quiet space, place a smooth stone or crystal on a low table, and light a candle. Sit before it each evening, breathe slowly, and imagine the stone hum, grounding you in the present moment. It's a form of meditation that steadies the mind and channels creative energy. Then there's sacred geometry, the hidden language of Tartaria's builders. Walk the grounds of any old monument, an archway, a ruined column, and notice the shapes: spirals, triangles, circles. Sketch them in a notebook. You'll begin to see patterns everywhere, in leaves, in seashells, even in your own palm. This practice trains your eyes to find harmony in complexity, a skill you can bring to design, problem-solving, or simply finding beauty in the world around you. Finally, community matters. The ancients gathered at solstice to share knowledge under the sun gate's glow. You can do the same. Host a small circle of friends or neighbors at the next full moon or solstice. Bring simple offerings, candles, crystals, a shared poem, and encourage each person to speak a truth or vision for the future. These gatherings build trust, open hearts, and remind us that some wisdom grows only in fellowship. You don't need secret manuscripts or hidden tunnels to carry Tartaria's legacy forward. Start with sunlight, stone, and simple shapes. Listen for the hum beneath your feet. And remember, every small ritual you practice is a step toward reviving the balance and wonder that once lit those vast halls. We began our journey chasing ghosts on old maps, wandered through half-forgotten tunnels, and stood before crystal spheres channeling the dawn. Along the way, we discovered that Tartaria wasn't just a name erased from textbooks. It was a testament to what happens when we lose touch with wonder, when knowledge is locked behind walls of power instead of shared under open skies. Those silent gateways and whispered legends remind us that history is never fixed. Every monument is a question, every carving an invitation to look closer. What if the true lesson of Tartaria isn't buried in catacombs at all, but waiting for us in our own backyards, in the morning light, in the curve of a seashell, in a friend's honest voice around a flickering candle? We hold the blueprints for our future in the simplest of things: geometry traced on paper, light dancing through glass, stones set in place by human hands. Each small act, pausing at sunrise, sketching a spiral, gathering in community, connects us to that ancient rhythm. We aren't just reviving lost technology, we're remembering how to listen. So here's the choice before us. Let the story end with dusty ruins and burned scrolls, or pick up the threads and weave them into a new tapestry. Carry a shard of living light into your days. Share a ritual of stones and shapes with someone you trust, and let every step become a question. What else have we forgotten? If you feel that spark of curiosity, share your thoughts below. Your own moments of wonder, your favorite symbols in stone, or the way sunlight falls across your window at dawn. And if you'd like to explore more mysteries hidden in plain sight, subscribe and join our journey through the forgotten corners of history. The stones still hum beneath our feet. All we have to do is listen.